Good morning, and I am, ooh, I'm live on Instagram for the first time, and it's been a very long time. So, good morning, Instagram, and while you're doing what you're doing, good morning over here in Facebook land, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Oh, wow. Good morning. Yes. I should have adjusted my camera. We're going to get the setup figured out. Good morning and welcome to this morning's edition of Contractors Chatter. Let me get my volume going. You know, over here, we believe in growing alone. We don't believe in growing alone, excuse me. We believe in growing as a group together. There's an old proverb that says that you want to go slow, go alone. But if you want to go fast, you go in a team, grow in a unit. So share this live, invite your friends. If you're catching this by the replay, hashtag replay. But here we go. This is Contractors Chatter. This is your daily dose of legislation and government contracting information. I am a host, Luciana Turner. I'm being distracted by something in my background, but you know what, that's okay. Anyway, whew. So as you enter the room, say hello. As I said, invite people to join this live. It's been a while since I've been live on a daily basis, so we know how this goes. Excuse me. So I think I have my setup together. You know, my coach always told me stop trying to be so perfect and get the information out there. And this is what I'm trying to do is get the information out there. So let me tell you a little about me. I have 20 plus years experience working in the industry as a compliance officer. And when I coach and consult my clients, I coach and consult from the perspective of what the auditor is looking for. And that is different than what a lot of the consultants are out here doing. I'm not saying it's unique, I'm saying it's different. Because I do keep an eye on what is DCA looking for, what is the GAO looking for. Because the longer you're in contracting, the larger your contracts are, the more complex your contracts are, the more you're going to be subject to audits. So you must prepare for these audits and these audit triggers. And it's better to start prepared than to get prepared. It is hard to fix errors in the middle of an audit than it is just to do it right in the first time. And it's less time consuming and it's more cost effective. And then another standpoint of compliance is during the compliance reviews, you'll be amazed at how much money you find that you're spending and double spending that you don't need to spend. It's just amazing. So compliance serves two hats, and nobody likes the compliance officer. I know. When I was in corporate, I didn't even send emails. I used to just show up at people's office. They just, they would ignore my emails. I just showed up in their office. Compliance is the stepchild of most organizations until it's time to write the check. Then they want to know where we are. Well, compliance is around you every day. Compliance are the rules and regulations that govern your operations. Compliance are the rules and regulations that tell you how you conduct business. Compliance are the rules and regulations that protect you in business. Not necessarily what you can or cannot do, but those things that protect you. They're all under the umbrella of compliance. And depending upon how your organization is developed, compliance falls under either CFO or financial or legal umbrella. Just depends upon how your organization is structured. But that was a little technical for this morning, but that's just a brief overview of compliance and what compliance does, and a brief overview of my experience in the industry and what I'm bringing to you. Contractors Chatter started 3 years ago, actually a little more than 3 years, but it was 3 years since I've been counting. And it started as a live where I brought information to the contracting community, information surrounding legislation, proposed legislation, past legislation surrounding business and government contracting. And I say it that way because for some reason, government contractors seem to forget their businesses as well. I don't understand it. Yes, you're a business. And what goes on in Washington affects you. Who is the sitting president affects you. Who is the Speaker of the House affects you. What is going through appropriations affects you. Quite frankly, if you are one of the contractors who work primarily on a local level, your local officials and what they do as far as regulations affects you. So Chatter was born. And it was a way for me to share information with the broader community. So, because when you're running a business, who has time to ferret out all this information? I know I don't always. However, it's a part of my platform as a compliance officer. And then I was like, I find this information useful. So then I start sharing. And then my audience enjoyed the share, so I shared even more. Now, I know I go live at an ungodly time of the morning. So I broadcast at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then it rebroadcasts again at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All replays and all broadcasts of Chatter are available on the company's YouTube page, LT&A Consulting Group. So if you want miss any days, they're stored there. After a while, the streams get lost on all the other social media platforms. All streams are available on the company's YouTube page. So that's a brief history of Chatter. Now, I'm undergoing a rebrand or remorph. That's something I've been sharing with I don't like the word tribe, but I'll use it for today. It's something I've been sharing with my tribe. I've been undergoing a metamorphosis, a transition, and Chatter's transitioning. And I'm going to be changing the name as a part of that transition. For those who have been following me since day one, they understand contracting Chatter. In fact, when I was calling it something else, they kept saying where's Chatter because they wasn't getting disconnect. However, for people who are starting to follow me and that are new follow me, they don't get it. So I accidentally came up with a new name. So over the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a new name in conjunction with Chatter, and eventually Chatter is going away. It's going to be replaced by a new name, along with the new brand, a new logo reveal. It's just a fresh thing going to next calendar year. Because as we know, as government contractors, we're already operating in the government fiscal year. So there's that. So on to legislative news. And there's a whole lot going on in the legislation, but we just want to give you 30 minutes of content, and I've already used up 11 minutes of my time. There are a couple of FAR changes. And for those who are new to government contracting, FAR is the Federal Acquisitions Regulations. Now, depending upon which agency you're working with, you don't have to worry about FAR. Now, if you're growing in government contracting and you decide to, expand, you want to keep FAR on the back burner, in the back of your mind. There are some changes to FAR that are being proposed, and how did I do that? I skipped like several pages in my notebook for some reason, and that's why I'm having a hard time finding my notes. So, with that, we all know there's this new cyber requirement that was passed down to contractors. Down my notes. And they're making another change to the cyber requirements. Is related to cybersecurity. Once again, that change is being pushed forward. It was originally just for those doing services with DoD and Veterans Administration. It looks like that change is being pushed throughout the government. I said it when it first came out, and I'm telling you, with the uptick in malware attacks, with the uptick in cyber attacks, anybody doing business with the government, anybody wanting to do business with the government, you need to learn, you're going to have to secure your systems. One of these days, I'm going to bring on a cybersecurity specialist, and he's going to talk very high level about it during Chatter. Just some things that you can do, some basic things you can do to secure your system. And then we're going to have an extensive conversation on my podcast, Contractors Conversation, where he can deep dive into that. It's going to be an eye-opening conversation. And what is driving this change is the government was saying they're being attacked through their contractors. Simply put, they're experiencing cyber attacks through their contractor systems. The attackers are coming through their systems and funneling into the government systems through their contractors and subcontractors. So now they're passing on this requirement that contractors and subcontractors tighten their security, and I mean get more than a Norton antivirus system. And then they have to report any significant, and that is such a vague term, but any significant violations or security breaches in their system. And if anybody's been around the industry long enough knows there's already a whole bunch of reporting requirements there as it is. This is just another one. I'm not sure if they've decided who we're supposed to report this to. I need to kind of look and see who they're saying is supposed to be reported to. because all of these reports, and eventually DCA receives this report because DCA also performs a audit of your cybersecurity systems or your IT systems. And they do that review as a part of your business system review sometimes. Sometimes it's standalone. It just depends upon time and resources and who sends them to review your system. So if you wanted to, especially if the Department of Defense is on your radar as a potential client, I suggest you look into cybersecurity, the cybersecurity awareness, and you really just jump on that. And as far as, cost, and I know Congress was trying to make this big deal about cost and the cost to contractors, you can recoup the cost in your indirect rates. And if you don't know how to do that, you need to book a session with an expert such as myself. We'll walk you through that. We'll walk you through the process of developing indirect rates where the cost, you can recoup the cost. But that's a part of doing business in government contracting. Now, I'm going to jump on the other side for a minute, and we're going to expand the conversation to just a little bit. I'm not an insurance agent, but just a matter of protection. I would make sure your policy or your insurance policy, because every government contractor is required to show proof of insurance. But I would make sure your policy includes some type of cybersecurity insurance. And I know I was just looking at insurance yesterday, and that's what made me think about this. There are separate terrorism policies. I don't know how efficient they are. I may talk to an insurance agent and have them come on and talk about that for the people. But you may want to look at that coverage as an additional coverage. Because if your system goes down for a couple of days, you can't bill, you can't perform, that will impact your revenue. And bigger companies may be able to take the hit, not that they want to, but smaller companies, you may need relief. And adequate insurance is a way to find relief for that. So you may want to look into ensuring you're covered. You want to talk to your insurance agent. If you don't have one, I suggest you get one. The way you did business when you first started is not the way you continue to do business as you scale and grow. Your mindset needs to change, which requires the way you do business to change. So your insurance policy needs to be reviewed as a part of your doing business. Then collect your insurance, who does your accounting, who does your taxes, all of that. That's a part of your annual reviews. And then I want to wrap this morning session up. I'm not going the full 30 minutes this morning, but I just want to wrap this session up with this. We are at the end of October. Tax time is coming. Now, whether you run on a fiscal year, a calendar year, however it runs, all corporations need to file their taxes. All government contractors, principal officers need to file their taxes. As you grow in government contracting and you become subject to audit once again, they will check. The auditors will check whether it's DCAA or outside audit firm that is retained by the government to come in and check you. They're going to check to ensure that you're filing your taxes. So you want to ensure your taxes are filed. There's this big push towards certifications, and I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. I'm your anti-certification girl. A lot of people want to go for the holy grail of 8A certification, and one of the measures are your taxes current? So Just make sure your taxes are filed and they're up to date and they're current, accurate, and complete. You will hear that ad nauseum in the government contracting world. So get your records together. I'm hoping everybody has completed their budgets for the coming year. And this should have been completed as part of your strategic planning for the coming year. And you're ready to rock and roll once the clockers or the calendars turn January 1 with your new budget. So this is Luciana Turner, your host for Contractors Chatter. And I'm ending this morning's edition with this reminder. Government contracting is when you started in business, you had a vision. We all had a vision when we started our business. And there are times as we're working and toiling and building our businesses, we need to remind ourselves of why we started our businesses in the first place. That is all. We need to tap into that. The holidays are coming up. We're spending more times with our family. Whether you celebrate the holidays is irrelevant. The holidays are coming. And during the holidays, we find ourselves surrounded by family a lot more. During that time, take a few moments to yourself and refresh yourself. Remind yourself why you started your business. And then as reminding yourself why you started your business, just look at the commitment you made to yourself. And then recommit to that commitment. It can be tough out here in these streets, especially if you're new to the game. It's tough sometimes, especially in that first 5 years. I believe that's when the failure rate is 80%. And then after that, this is the continuation of that stat. After that, I believe they said another 80% of those who survive 5 years fail within 2 years after that. So if you're still there and you're at the 5-year mark, celebrate yourself. This is just a little business tip. Celebrate yourself that you've made it this far. And I'll see you tomorrow morning for another edition of Contractors Chatter. I am your host, Luciana Turner. Have an amazing, amazing day.